Welcome to Backstage LA. As you can see, we have a very special guest with us today, Peter Tork. And this was a song from his new band, not his new band, but his band's new CD, Campy Hotel. And the band's name is Shoe Suede Blues. If you don't know it, you should definitely check it out. And he's
Peter Tork and Shoe Suede Blues.
Peter Tork and Shoe Suede Blues.
That's why I go ahead and start it.
Okay, no, because I was told that they didn't want us to make a big deal out of
the Peter Tork part?
The Peter Tork part.
It's the original name now, though.
Okay. Okay, so that's what. Okay, well then that's the way we're gonna go.
Legal name.
Do you want to do that again? Then just add that. Okay, so.
Back in again.
What is it? It is Peter Tork and Shoe
Peter
Suede
Tork
Blues.
and and you are him.
I wake up every morning. I go.
No, but you know what? Yeah, they said that they. You know, I saw. I read some of the press kit on it that I got emailed, and it said that they didn't want to make a big deal of that.
We didn't used to, but they changed their mind.
Okay.
I mean, actually, what happened was I got overridden. We're a kind of a constitutional democracy. I have a veto, but I can be overridden.
Yeah. So I was happy. You know,
yeah, I got overridden. My veto got overridden. Unanimous.
Well, I think it's a good idea.
Well, that's the way it goes.
You know.
Hey, for better or for worse, it's what it is.
Well, let's do the intro again.
No, let's use this. This
is
good.
I thought it was great. I like it when he corrects you. It's wonderful.
So there you go. We can use that.
You can cut it out. Anything you don't like, you cut it out anyway.
But welcome anyways to Peter Tork. And so, this new CD, you're really excited about. Do you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I'm really thrilled about
it. Very thrilled.
No, I am. I'm excited. I'm actually excited. I'm really thrilled to death. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Have I had coffee yet?
I don't know. Have you? Do
you
need some?
The question is, how excited am I? Is this just coffee talk? Actually, I did have a little bit of coffee. Maybe that's my problem. I am actually very excited about it. It's a wonderful. I mean, I think it's great. What can you do? It's like you feel. Well, I don't want. Every time I thought I did something good, my father said, "Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back." You know, and his voice is, "Oh yeah, okay, Dad. Okay." But I do like it. You know, I like this band. I like the song selections. I like the artwork. I think it's good. What else is there to say? Good, very wide variety of songs. Very wide, from but that's us. That's who we are. That's what it is.
Yeah, and you got some great musicians with you in this band. So I heard this is like the best band ever. That you.
Well, no, the Beatles were probably a little bit better.
Well, I mean
it's very small.
just a teeny bit difference, but no, but I hear that for all the bands and all the people that you've been playing with
That I've
all
ever
the time,
played.
that this is like the band for you.
It is the band for me, for sure, right now. One of the things, I mean, I've had other bands that I've liked a lot, but it was like while I was still sort of holding off the blues, and now that I'm more deeply into the blues, this is the right band.
And how does this feel different from some of the other bands that you've been,
Well,
connections you've had
it's
before?
I think the blues is a connection, and we feel that when we play. Other music, you play good music and you're satisfied, and sometimes you catch a wave and there's a really good beat, and that's a good thing. But with the blues, there's something special to my way of thinking, in my experience. And the idea is to capture as much of that and to transmit as much of that, capture and cage and hold and throttle. No, to transmit, capture and transmit as much of that as possible. The blues, I've heard people, I've talked about the blues once to one person, and she said, oh, the blues are so depressing. And I went, what's wrong with this picture? You know, am I listening to the same thing? Because I listen to the blues, and it's like a drug. It takes away my cares and woes, and makes me just, you know, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. And even if you're an atheist, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. And the blues just does that for me. And I don't know how well I'm going to be able to transmit it, but that's the idea. Because the blues is not about the blues. The blues, in the blues, is the MacGuffin. The blues is about, we've all had the blues. You know, I sing about, oh man, I just got thrown out, and I don't know where I'm going to go. And everybody goes, that's rough, brother. They don't go, you know, in modern pop music, if you sing about, I got thrown out of my house, everybody, loser! You know, which is push people away, which is exactly the opposite of the blues, which is bring people in. You know, it's like, I mean, you know, I was a kid in the pop world when I was a kid in the pop world, and she gets this stuff. It's great, and there was a lot of, you know, well, we're different from the previous generation, and it's in your face was a part of the point of pop music as I was a kid. And I get that the kids are that way now. You know, it's like in your face, old man, and that's fine. It's fine, but and so for us, pop music was, we're all included. All us younger people are included together. So it was a way of us being young people as a solidarity. But now that I'm older, my solidarity is about a wider range of people, not just the kids, of which I am no longer one.
Well, some people say that you'll be a kid forever if it's in your heart. So
Well, there's that.
you know.
I mean, from that point of view.
So, but so who inspired you to get into the blues world as much as you feel like you have to be in that world right now?
You know, I love the Masters music, B.B. King, the King non-brothers, B.B., Albert, and Freddie. I have Muddy Waters in my CD in the car almost all the time. You know, there are more greats than I care to mention, and I don't even get a chance to listen to enough. But when I really sort of began to soak up the blues, it was an obscure live musician, not known, a guy named Larry Johnson. There is not the same Larry Johnson there's a blues musician alive now, has records out, his name is Larry Johnson. Not that guy, there's another guy named Larry Johnson, used to play in Santa Monica with he played the blues, and when he did, I went, thank you. You sit down in a hot bathtub or something, everything's fine. You know, when I used to drink, somewhere between the first and second drink, the cares of the world would slough off of me. The problem with using drink and drugs to get where you want to go is it's like having sex with a 500-pound gorilla. You don't quit when you want to quit. You quit when the gorilla wants to quit. And it's that way with drugs, so I don't do that anymore. And I'm glad, because when I was doing it, that was the only way I could get where I wanted to go. And since I've quit, I found that I can do it with the music.
So blues is your new drug?
Well, maybe, except that drugs have this connotation of taking stuff away in order to, you know, and this is just additive. It doesn't take anything away except the effort it takes to get them out, get them through, you know. And, you know, musicians and actors work harder than doctors to get where they are. You know, it's the internship and all the rest of it, but you don't see it because when I'm in my bedroom practicing while mom's fixing dinner is, come on down for dinner, I don't want to play. All that time doesn't feel like work.
Mm.
It's just, you know, oh boy, thank you for allowing me to do this. Thank you for letting me, thank you. But, so the amount of work you put in is huge, but it doesn't feel like work. So anyway, we put in all that work, and if you're lucky and you catch the wave, and one thing and another, a combination of things happen, you get to play the blues or the music, whatever your music is. You know, everybody has got their music, but for me, it's the blues, because it's, I don't know, it heals, and it's so resonant. It comes from the earth, you know, in a very serious way.
Mm. So, talking about playing at home, do you still practice per se? Do you still have like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I don't play the
Or
banjo
just-
much at home,
No.
but guitar and keyboards, yeah, that I play a lot.
Just
I
for like writing, or simply
Well,
just
no,
like singing
that's
practice, just to kind of.
Just to play.
Yeah.
I seem not to be writing, but I'll set up a groove on the computer, and then I'll start to play. And I'll play that.
Just kind of
for a while.
jamming. In a
Yeah,
way.
jamming with
Yeah?
jamming with the computer.
Oh, cool.
Computer doesn't register changes too much. Not very sensitive instrument that way. Well, I suppose it can make an interactive groove thing. Somebody catches you as you start to play a different groove. It shifts the groove a little. I suppose you could, but I'm not going to program that computer.
Yeah. So, you've been a musician for many, many, many years now. So, when did you really kind of decide or find out that this is what I have to do in my life?
I was, so let's see, about 1987.
1987.
About that, somewhere in the late 80s. I was in my mid-40s, and I thought, maybe I'll be an entertainer. Actually, it's the truth. Up till then, I had just gone along with the flow. I was in Greenwich Village, and a friend of mine and I was down there, and he looked at, we were listening to some guy on a stage in the coffee house. He said, you can do better, go get your banjo. I went, okay. So I went and got my banjo, and I said, can I play? And they said, yeah, and I played, and then I played, and then I played again and again, and I lost my day job, and I came down to the village, and I got a little room there, and I played every night, and then I got a job as an accompanist. Somebody, hey, you want to play accompaniment? Sure, I'll play. Here's what I can do. And I said, okay, you're hired, and I went with them, and somebody gave me a gig, and then suddenly this happened, and then a very interesting thing happened. I was walking through the streets of, I think I was on the Lower East Side of New York City, and I was visited by some angel who instructed me that I was to leave town.
Okay.
Now, didn't happen in words, there was no, and I didn't see anything, but I was informed, and there was no refuting it. It was,
And no explanation.
No
It's
explanation.
just get out of town.
well, I said, okay, how about if I just clear up some stuff, I pay my bills, and as soon as I get a ride and a place to stay in either LA or San Francisco, I'll go there. Guess it's okay. And not too much longer later, a girl called me up that I met in DC and said, I'm in Southern California and you can come visit me. And I walked into a bar, the guy said, we're driving to LA in a 37 Chevy, you want to come along? I hadn't met the guy, I didn't know who he was, how did he know me? And we piled into the 37 Chevy, and I arrived in Southern California in June, end of June, '65, and I was trying out for the Monkees maybe in 2 months or something. So, you know, there really was this sense of like, come on, come on, come on, okay, whatever, okay. And then, you know, it wasn't until much later that I went, I better make a decision about this. So it was like I was in my mid-40s when I said, okay, this is my decision.
So have you had a lot of those experiences where angels are talking to you? I mean, I believe in those things, so that's why I'm kind of like,
No, once in a
you know,
while.
these things happen to us, and it's just quite interesting when it does, so.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was the
That was
loudest.
the-
Yeah, that was the most obvious. Twice I've seen colors. Once I was so totally in love that everything was pink. I mean, rosy, like that dusty pink. That is the rose color. I swear to God, rose-colored glasses, man. It was I swear to God, it was as if a pair of rose-colored glasses had been implanted into my eyes. Everything had this hue, and it was just, you know, okay, you know. And then once I came downstairs, and my parents had had a lot to drink the night before, and the air was black. Incidentally, on our last CD, Saved by the Blues, is the song Saved by the Blues, which contains all this stuff. A friend of mine, I just talked to a friend of mine the way I'm talking to you, and he went home and wrote a song and called it Saved by the Blues, and it's on there. I woke up this morning, the air was black as ink, woke up one morning. My daddy was having himself a drink. He had deep purple bags under eyes red and wary. I was looking at my future. Man, did it look scary. and so on. I mean, you know, all these things, and he just wrote these wonderful songs filled with color changes and about the blues, and we wound up not being able to do it as a blues song, but we did it as a gospel song instead.
Still coming from the soul.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. So, now you were out promoting this, you're going to be playing at the Man Show tonight?
No, tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay, tomorrow night.
In the afternoon, evening, whatever. 2 times? 2 p.m. 2 p.m.
2 p.m. tomorrow.
I'm informed.
Okay.
As if I'm struck
The
in
angel.
That's right.
So 2 p.m. tomorrow, and then you guys are on tour.
Yeah, in the UK.
But you coming
We
back,
are hot stuff.
But you coming back over here though too, right?
Sure.
I
Oh
understand.
yeah, wherever we can, you know, we'll play wherever they'll let us. That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
Wherever they let you. So what was the evolutionary process of this new CD?
Actually, it was our drummer who found a place to record it. There is a, he had been at a recording studio in Cambria, California, and called us up, the rest of us up, and said, well, this guy's got a great idea, he's got a deal for us. We get, over the course of 3 days, we get 2.5 days of recording, and we perform a concert at the end of the 3rd day. He takes all the money in, and we settle accounts afterwards. So basically, you pay to record. Yeah, play to record. And it sounded like a good idea, and we went up to Cambria, California, hence the name of the CD, Cambria Hotel.
Yeah,
And just had a very fine time. And then we took the masters home, and Richard took some home, and I took some, and we each worked on the songs. We had ideas, and we visited each other and worked on the songs together, and honed and polished and changed, and did a few vocals and a couple of lead guitar solos and stuff, until we got it the way we liked it, more or less. I mean, you never, ever get it completely the way you like it. You just, the agony of the artist is to not know your
But did you have a producer on it as well to
We
kind
produced
of
it ourselves,
so
yeah.
you don't have that big finger saying it is okay, don't worry.
Yeah, no,
You
you
don't
have to make up your own mind.
Yeah,
You have
so-
to go with it. Well, it was easy doing the tracks. We knew we had 2.5 days to do the basic tracks, and we had to get all of that done. And those had to be right. And we would do a song 3, 4, 5 times if we caught a groove on one of those takes. Whichever take we got the best groove on was the one we kept. And then we took that out and we worked vocals over that. And it's true, you know, I mean, every time you go do this solo, well, here's a guitar solo, and people are, you know, a little bit nervous about criticizing each other. It's hard to say that solo's no good because you're afraid, what I mean is no good.
A sensitive artist.
Yeah, and to be a sensitive artist and a harsh critic in the same body at the same time, facing each other, that's living hell.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. But we did our best, and pretty soon, you know, here comes the tour, the UK tour, and it's got to be done in time for the UK tour. Well, okay, snip, 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 shut it down, shut it off, turn it down, that's it, put it to bed.
Yeah, so it'll be out here on the 23rd, which is, what, a week from now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's going to almost be there.
Yeah?
It's in the press.
Yeah, it's in the press.
1, 2, 3.
We'll have it.
1, 2, 3, 07.
1, 2, 3, 07?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 1/23. So, and you know, so we'll be able to take it to England.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, how many tracks did you guys record up there? Did everything get on there, or?
No, we left one off. I'm not
Just
sure we
one?
should.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty good,
yeah, we
though.
did. I think we did 12, and we put 11 on the CD. And I'm not so sure we should have left the one off, but somehow we got the CD and we played it. And where's the other one? Oh well, okay. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe it'll be on the next one then.
Maybe it will. One of the thoughts was that we already had 2 songs that were sort of in a certain genre, and a 3rd one would have been too many. So, and we took the 2 best ones of that one, kind of the up rockabilly genre, and so there was a 3rd one, and we weren't sure about the 3rd one. It was a little iffier, so we left that one on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so there's 11 songs on it.
So, what is your favorite performance memory ever in your life?
Too many.
There's not one that stands out
no
when you
one.
get that
Well,
question?
how can you top the best? You know, you got 4 or 5 of them, and they're all really, really the best. You know, like I said, when I play with Shoe Suede Blues, I'd get off every night. Just about, very nearly every night. I go, okay, this is what I'm doing here. Thank you, God. And that fact, you know, just show in and show out performance week in and week out, again and again and again, you know. You just got to say Hosanna. There's just nothing else for it.
Yeah.
But there's one great Monkee episode that comes to mind is, you know, there was all that flack. The Monkees didn't play their own instruments, and there was, for a while, there was a lot of controversy because the Monkees, we were called the Prefab Four, which is just one of the best jokes. I can tell you, it's really great. I thought that one gets a kudo from me. But we did play our own concerts. And one night in Osaka, Japan, we hit the groove, we hit the pocket. And it was, we just couldn't get out. It was really wonderful. We were so entrenched in the groove, we couldn't get lost with our eyes closed walking backwards. And Davy Jones comes over to me, banging the tambourine, and yells over the music and the screaming of the kids. He says, "We're going to form a group!" I said, okay, that's a good idea, let's do that. So that was a lot of fun. And we actually hit the pocket again in '97 with a version of Pleasant Valley Sunday in the UK when the four of us were united for a tour in the UK, and that was great. So that kind of thing. Basically, so it always comes down to hit the groove. Play with your mates. You know that song, "On the Road Again, just can't wait to get back on the road again. I find love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again."
So that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So as a musician, what has been your biggest challenge in this whole
My own
as a
craft.
musician?
My own
Your
craft. Yeah, my own
Just
craft.
becoming better and better
Becoming,
and better.
yeah, you know, the challenge of looking at the guys that are playing about as well as I wish I could play, and looking at the distance between me and them, and gasping in dismay. So that's the hard part.
It's the critical artist again.
Yeah, the critical artist again. You know, yeah, I had an interesting image once come to me. I was when I was a kid. I went one summer. I spent in one town on a beach, and the next summer I spent at the next town, which was a good number of miles away. And I thought I would go back and visit, so I set out walking. And I got my bottle of water, my sandwich, and I started walking. And after a while, I looked ahead of me and I went, "That town, I just make out the town on the horizon." I said, "That town isn't any nearer." And I turned around, the town I'd left was way behind me. I said, okay, that's good. That's something to remember. So I keep that picture in mind, you know. I don't know how far I have to go. Sometimes it feels like I'll never get anywhere remotely close. But if I look back, I get to go, okay, so I'm making some progress.
So do you feel like you have sort of like a triumph that comes to mind too? Like the
musically and artistically,
you
like that person, in terms of my own person? No, I mean all the time when it goes well. If I play a good solo, if I'm playing the right rhythm and it's kicking the band, and that, yeah, those are the small moments. That's the good enough stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when it's a kick again and again, it keeps coming to the same thing. When the collaboration becomes transportational.
Welcome back to Backstage LA, and we still have Peter Tork here.
Or maybe again, we don't know.
Or again.
Still
no.
and again.
So, if you could sit and jam with anybody living, not still here.
Bach.
Yeah?
Yeah, Johann Sebastian. Actually, you know, you get this. Johann Sebastian Bach could improvise 3 and 4 parts at once. You could hear melodies, themes, as if there were 3 different people playing, and he would be just doing it himself on a keyboard. And people marvel at his ability to do that. And you know, there's no way of jamming with that. But you know, and I got to jam with Jimi Hendrix on an occasion, and that was fabulous. And he makes you so good when you play. He's not. I mean, there's a funny thing, you know, when you have a musician of that quality, he makes you dependable without imposing. I don't know how he does it, but I get that. The better the musician, the more more dependability gets created. I become more dependable the better the musician I'm playing with. And I play with Jimmy, and you know, and I just, because there's something kind of, because by being undemanding, he makes me dependable. Very peculiar. This is paradoxical. I've never thought about this stuff before in exactly these terms. But to jam with Jimmy, or to jam with a few of the other people that I've had who were just really good quality, was just relaxing. You just played what you could play. It seems like the more they need you, the more you try to play beyond your capacities in an unhealthy way. They don't make you transcend. They make you overshoot. And but so like Jimmy, anytime, any of the blues greats, of course. If they would allow me to jam with them, I played with Ringo and George once. Played with those guys. Same thing. Bam! Everything settles down. Everything's in order. Everything is taken care of. You play what you can play. And it doesn't matter if you're just playing ching, 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 ching. You don't have to be,
Yeah.
and you're not challenging. Nobody's challenging anybody, because the better you are, the less ego you've got. In the art, you might be an egomaniac of the first order in the rest of the world, but as an artist, the better you are, the less ego you've got, and the more comfortable it is to sit in that room with you and play.
And just having fun with it, basically.
Yeah, because
yeah.
Right, because everybody does what they can do, and the result is just, during one of the Beatles retrospectives, Paul, they asked the three remaining, as they were then, what they wanted to say as almost an epitaph for the Beatles. And Paul said, well, it was a pretty good rock and roll band then, wasn't it? And I think it was just a good little band.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that's a pretty good little band.
Yeah. So what with all the different things that you've been doing through your history as a musician, how do you just keep pushing your creative boundaries? Is there do you feel like it's a certain drive? Is there something that inspires, or it's just something?
It's just what I do.
It's just what you do.
It's just what I do. Right. I hardly ever push myself. I kind of think that I should be pushing myself more than I am, but I hardly ever do. I just play when I play, and and the more we get to play, the better I feel like playing, the more I want to play. We'll be going overseas. We'll have about 9 hours of rehearsal, or 15 hours of rehearsal at the most, before we go over there.
Mm-hmm.
And am I nervous? Ask me if I'm nervous.
Are you
No!
nervous? Are you ever nervous?
It's a good question. When I was very young, I got so nervous that I got up on stage, my knees were knocking. I was 15 doing a talent show. At a flutter pace. Since then, it's changed. There's anticipation, but it serves me at best to bring me up to the level of performance. That kind of energy is coming, it's coming, it's coming, and then you step off of it onto the stage. Whereas if I'm not if I'm not ramping up, I'll step off onto the stage and bump my nose into something, and it'll be awkward and rough. And if I'm not warmed up and prepared and haven't been thinking about a show, it's not as smooth. So instead of just being nervous, it now becomes the ramp that I use to step gracefully onto the stage, entertaining the multitudes with my usual flair.
So when was your first
sorry.
time? I'm sorry.
I was just enjoying my flair. I thought I was...
So when was your first time of flair on stage ever in your life? And what's your first?
It's that very same show.
That was the same one.
Back when I was 15-year-old and doing the talent show, and I did my 2 songs. I was nervous and I got off stage, and then the judges. It was a talent contest, and the judges went off, and after a while, nobody noticed that nobody prepared for the judges to spend 15 or 20 minutes judging. And while they were off judging, when the pressure was off, I got up on stage and began to, and I had the audience in the palm of my hand. I just started to do jokes and hey, and act with the audience, and they went through the roof. And the judges never got to see that. I didn't win.
You didn't win?
No.
What songs did you do in that round?
I can't even, well,
Oh.
I can remember one of them, but I don't think I could just do it off the top of my head. I did some songs by a guy named Tom Lehrer, and some folk songs, and some, I don't know, just whatever was around at the time. Yeah, when I was that age, pop music was pretty poor. The 50s rock thing had come and gone, and pablum had set back in, and so folk music was the only real music for those of us into music in the community back then. So we were doing folk musics and various other novelty songs and things.
Were you writing back then?
No.
Nope. Just
A
other
little,
people's-
not
yeah.
much. Yeah,
Okay.
very little.
So getting back to the band that you are with right now.
The band I'm with now, yeah,
The
okay.
Shoe Suede Blues.
Once
And
once you get to learn to say
You
that
know, it's-
smoothly,
it's
you
just-
can never say the
I
name of
wanna
the
s-
song again.
I want to like
Shoe blade
switch them
blue-
around,
yeah,
Suede Shoe
blue-
Blues, but it's Shoe Suede Blues.
Shoe
It's
Suede-
just the way that the rhythm is. You kind of really got to get it in there. But anyways, with that band, you guys have been working together for a while, and this is the third
Well-
CD this is the second.
Well, third, but
Third,
depending on
right?
how you want to look at it.
Okay.
We put one out that was just a quick mic in the air, chop it up and put it together and put it out kind of a thing. And it was not a terribly good CD from some technical points of view. There was some fun stuff on it. It didn't even have a barcode. We just sold it at sold it at the shows.
Yeah.
It was just a merchandise, a souvenir kind of thing. And then our first studio album was Saved by the Blues,
Mhm.
and this is now our second studio album and our third CD overall.
How you
What-
felt like how you evolved from when you guys started out playing together and forming this band. How do you kind of mold from then to now?
I can't tell you that exactly. It's just we do a wider range of songs, and we do and we're better rehearsed. But that's just the inevitable stuff of being together for so long. I mean, when we started off, it was three of us just got together and said, let's do this. My wife is in charge of the entertainment for this charity benefit thing that's going on. We can play if we want to. So three of us got a couple of other guys, and the three of us became the core of the band. By the time, let's see, and then the other two guys fell away. I actually hadn't thought. I mean, I never said, okay, you're all working for me. I'm going to play in this band, and you're going to be playing with me. It was a group effort. And,
It was kind of a coincidence.
well, it was natural. It was, I don't know,
Oh,
not
okay.
coincidence, not quite the right word by my lights, but it was a natural. One by one, the other two guys left. I feel like I'm the only founding member left. And
Okay, like that.
yeah,
Oh.
really, it really was.
So then you were.
One by one, the one guy fell away, and then there were four of us. There were five.
Okay.
We started with the three of us. We got a drummer and another guitar player. Then one of us fell away, and so then we were four. And then we changed. The bass player quit, and we got another bass player. And now we're changing drummers, and but the original, we haven't been able to figure out how long ago we got started, but it's been about 12 years
Wow.
since we first started out. And slow is the way to go, I'm told. But this is glacial.
So, though you're now doing blues, is there any current newer artists right now that you feel you get inspired from in some way, or is there someone that you like out there though it's kind of like a different genre?
No, when I hear Johnny Lang is a wonderfully talented blues musician, and I hear a few lads out there every so often. Robert Cray is a younger man than I am, and he is surely the blues incarnate. Even though he put an album out that some would say is not the blues, but it's all blues elements. It's just a little more sophisticatedly arranged. And I hear a lot of stuff that I think is very good out there, but I'm not much inspired or moved by any one of the new artists. A lot of them I like a lot. I'm glad to see I think we've re-entered an era of singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And that means that it's not, screaming voices barely heard over the incredible din of extremely loud guitars and drums played, amped up and mic'd and just, no. They still do that, but there's nothing happening there as far as I'm concerned. Now it's the voice and guitar, and then a really good band playing pretty loudly, but further back. And so you can hear the singer, you can hear his words, or her ideas. And that's one of the things that's really important to me, to feel that somebody has got something to say and wants it said, and they don't want any loud guitars drowning them out.
Yeah. So you've been around for this while and been through the time where the music business has changed quite a bit in different directions, both No, you don't think so?
No.
You don't think the business of music has changed?
In degrees.
Yeah.
Not substantially. It's still, you know, that something comes along and there's resistance to it, and then it breaks through, and then somebody says, we can make a lot of money with this, and everything has to sound like this thing that we fought like hell to beat up against yesterday, but it all has to sound like that now, and then something else comes along, oh, but no, we got this, no, and oh, well, if you're going to sell a couple million, then okay, and oh, sorry, your old hat, and now everything has to sound like that, and it's just, that process happens indefinitely.
Yeah.
And the same thing is happening when we were kids. You could put out a 45, not easily, but not extremely difficult. And maybe if you got your record store to play it, and maybe your local radio station, it would go someplace. You know. Now the conglomerates have radio stations so locked down, and the record producers, the CD makers, you can't. But there's the internet. Oh, so there's a news, and now the conglomerates. Wait a minute, we are in charge here. You can't do that. We're in charge. Oh, sorry, you know, away you go.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens again and again. As soon as the conglomerates find a way to lock down the internet, something else is going to come along, and that's because there's no stopping that what's really happening, which is inspiration from the people.
So do you have an advice for any new musicians or groups that are trying to like just go out there?
Yeah, don't get a day job.
Don't get a day job.
Don't get a day job.
Just go for it.
Yeah, go for it to the best of your ability. I mean, if you have to take a Mac job to pay the rent, but you know, the guys who really wanted it did anything they could. The Beatles and the Stones used to sleep 5 to a room on funky mattresses, and that was the only place they had, and they went out. The rest of the time they were out playing, scarfing down cheap food and going back to crashing on these mattresses, yucky mattresses, and coming back out, and they scuffled like hell that way because they wanted to play, no matter what. And if you can't do that, well, nothing is prohibitive, but everything changes your chances. So if you're not willing to do that, that's going to diminish your chances of making it.
Yeah.
The more, and there's no forcing that either. Those guys, they didn't say, we have to force ourselves to play real hard and sleep in cheap mattresses. They didn't do that to themselves. They went out to where the music was, and they made do however they could.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to. They played and played and played and played and played. Used to be an old joke when I was starting out. It takes 5 years to make an overnight sensation. And you know, the Beatles were at it for how long were they at it? They'd been at it for 5 years or so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know, we're sloughing off to Hamburg and being thrown out of Hamburg because George was too young, and sloughing back again when he got old enough, and you know, and the Stones too. You know, just as far as I know, and other bands that I've heard, the story is they're just crammed into a van, and they get, you know, the cheap motel room, they're sleeping on the floor, and they're playing up and down. They have a small circuit of their own, and they play it again and again and again and again until they get popular, and then some band comes along and says, you boys sound pretty good, I think I'll make stars out of you. And you know.
And that's the way it goes.
So you have to play. So, you know, don't take a day job, because it's going to keep you from touring. If you can possibly help it. I mean, you can't help it sometimes. But if you can possibly help it, don't get distracted.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest part for a lot of people. Yeah. So, is there anything that you would like to say that we haven't talked about yet? Yeah? There's anything? Okay, let me hear it.
Oh, well. Well, you know, that I think about was talking about the blues and what the point of the blues is, and once somebody was doing an interview and said, well, any last words? And I said, be a hero to yourself. And wow, where did that come from? Who was that? That was the evil Peter Tork. But what I really get more and more and more is that, you know, for all the people say, you know, you have to look out for each other, and who do you think you are? You think you're anybody special? Yeah, you're somebody special. Certainly, I have to think of myself as being special in my own world. I'm the one in charge of this cosmos as seen from back here, as you are from that one, and so on. And to think of yourself as being no better than anybody else, I mean, it's okay. We have to, you know, all honor the same social rules or we fall apart. But there's a difference between the social level of interaction and one's personal actions, internal actions. You know, I get to think I'm all right. I don't have to think I'm better than anybody else, but I'm in charge of myself, and I know me better than anybody else. And I have to take care of that, and I get to. And the world is a better place if I do. If I tell myself, well, I'm no better than you, I should give you everything I got, the world is not made better thereby. It is made worse. I gave away my money when the first time I had money, because I thought I didn't deserve it. I had liberal guilt, as I used to say. And what I found was that the people who picked up the money were not more deserving than I, they were less deserving than I. And if I wanted to give my damn money away, I should keep it and give it away where I wanted to give it away, not let it slither through my fingers from lack of being who I thought I was, lack of self-definition. I wasn't committed to myself as a separate person. Same thing when you asked me about when did I choose to have a career. It happened much later. Up till then I was still, no, whatever, kind of blithe and a little stupid.
Well, do you think it comes from a place where, a sense of self-love in the same and deservingness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where you feel like you've come to that place where you deserve it, and
I deserve what I get, in a sense. I mean, let's get too far afield on this one, but yeah, there is I do love myself not in the egotistical, I'm a good kid, but the way you love people you love.
Well, there's certain contentment in what you are and what you have to offer without it being anything more than that.
Yeah, right. If you like it, pick up. If you don't, leave me alone. It's as simple as that.
I mean, I think it's a big thing for a lot of artists.
I agree. It's a very tough place to come to. It took me a lot of hard work here.
It's a process.
It is.
Well, thank you very, very much for coming to talk to us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks
for having me.
And good luck with the CD and the tour and everything.
Thank you.
Great. Do you want to play out the song for us? To close off?
I suppose. What was the thanks, angels, my higher angels. I don't know. What do we got?
It could be from the CD, it could be from anything else.
Oh yeah? You think I should do East Virginia?
That's my favorite.
I was born in East Virginia.